The door slammed shut behind Dax with a force that echoed through the quiet suburban street in small-town Ohio. At 16, he stood there, backpack slung over one shoulder, tears blurring his vision as his father's words rang in his ears. "You're a disgrace to this family. Get out and don't come back." It was 2005, and coming out as gay in a conservative household had shattered everything he knew, leaving him homeless and heartbroken in the span of one heated argument. Dax wandered the streets that night, his mind racing with fear and confusion. He had always known he was different, but the love he felt for his best friend at school had pushed him to confess to his parents, hoping for understanding. Instead, his mother had wept silently while his father raged about sin and shame, quoting Bible verses like weapons. By dawn, he found himself at a bus stop, clutching the little money he had saved from his part-time job at the local diner. He boarded the first bus to Cleveland, a city that promised anonymity and perhaps a chance to start over. In Cleveland, Dax crashed on the couch of a distant cousin who barely knew him but took pity on his story. The cousin, Maria, was in her 30s and worked as a nurse. She introduced him to a support group for LGBTQ youth at the community center. There, he met others like him, kids kicked out for who they were, fighting to survive. It was in those meetings that Dax began to rebuild his sense of self. He enrolled in a GED program, worked odd jobs, and slowly, painfully learned to trust again. Years passed in a blur of determination. By 20, Dax had earned a scholarship to community college, studying business with a focus on finance. He was driven by a quiet rage, a need to prove his family wrong. Nights were spent poring over textbooks, days hustling at internships. He kept his personal life guarded. Dating was sporadic, always overshadowed by the fear of rejection. But then he met Jordan at a campus event. A tall, confident guy with a warm smile and a shared passion for indie music. Jordan was out and proud, from a supportive family in New York, and their connection was immediate, built on late-night talks about dreams and fears. Their relationship blossomed quietly. Jordan encouraged Dax to open up about his past. And for the first time, Dax felt seen not as a disgrace but as someone worthy of love. They moved in together after graduation, pooling resources to afford a small apartment in Chicago, where Dax landed a job at a mid-tier investment firm. Life was building, promotions came, savings grew, and they talked about marriage when it became legal nationwide in 2015. But the shadow of his family lingered. Dax hadn't spoken to them in years, changing his number and avoiding social media to keep the distance. One evening in 2018, as Dax and Jordan prepared dinner, the phone rang. An unknown number from Ohio. Dax hesitated but answered. It was his sister, Emily, her voice trembling. "Dax? It's me. Mom's sick. Cancer. We need help." The words hit like a punch. Emily explained how their parents had fallen on hard times. Dad's factory job lost to automation, medical bills piling up. She begged for forgiveness, saying the family had changed, that they missed him. Dax's heart twisted. Jordan held his hand as he processed the call, urging caution. "They hurt you deeply, Dax. Don't rush into this." But blood ties pulled strong. Dax sent a check for $5,000, enough to cover initial treatments. Emily thanked him profusely, promising visits and reconciliation. For a moment, Dax dared to hope. Months later, more calls came. Dad needed surgery for a heart condition. The house was in foreclosure. Emily's kids required tuition for private school. Each request was laced with apologies and assurances of love. Dax, now a senior analyst earning six figures, wired money repeatedly. $10,000 here, $15,000 there. Jordan watched with growing concern. "They're using you, babe. Where's the effort to make amends?" The turning point came at a family gathering Dax reluctantly attended. Flying back to Ohio, he braced for emotion. Instead, he found resentment simmering beneath forced smiles. His uncle pulled him aside. "You've done well for yourself, huh? Must be nice living that lifestyle in the big city." The word lifestyle stung like a slur. At dinner, conversations skirted his life with Jordan, focusing instead on how his success could bail them out further. Back in Chicago, Dax confided in Jordan. "They act like nothing happened. Like they didn't throw me away. Jordan nodded, his eyes filled with empathy. You owe them nothing. You've built this life despite them. But the requests didn't stop. When Dax hesitated on a $20,000 loan for Emily's new car, the calls turned accusatory. After all we've been through, you're turning your back on family? Dax's internal conflict raged. Society preached forgiveness, especially for family. But was forgiveness the same as being a doormat? He thought of the 16-year-old boy on that bus, scared and alone. Had he come so far only to be pulled back into their web? As the demands escalated, Dax found himself at a crossroads. His professional life was thriving. He'd been promoted to portfolio manager, overseeing investments for high-net-worth clients. The irony wasn't lost on him, advising others on financial security while his own family drained his emotional reserves. Jordan, a graphic designer with a steady freelance gig, suggested therapy. You need to process this, Dax. It's not just about money. It's about healing. In sessions with Dr. Ramirez, a kind-eyed therapist specializing in LGBTQ issues, Dax unpacked layers of trauma. They called me a disgrace, he recounted, voice cracking. Now they want my money like it's owed. Dr. Ramirez nodded. Rejection at that age shapes you, but reconciliation requires mutual effort. What have they done to earn your trust? Inspired, Dax set boundaries. He emailed the family, I'll help with medical bills, but only through direct payments to providers. No more cash transfers. The response was swift and bitter. His father called, voice gruff. Who do you think you are? Dictating terms? We raised you. Dax's stomach churned. You kicked me out at 16, Dad. I raised myself. The conversation devolved into shouts, ending with his father hanging up. Emily texted apologies, but soon followed with pleas for her son's orthodontia. Dax paid the bill directly, but the pattern persisted. Society's expectations weighed heavy. Friends advised forgiveness, citing family bonds. Online forums debated similar stories. Was cutting off toxic relatives selfish or self-preservation? Meanwhile, Dax and Jordan's relationship deepened amid the chaos. They adopted a rescue dog, Milo, whose playful energy brought lightness. On weekends, they'd hike in nearby parks, discussing future plans, a house, maybe kids through adoption. Jordan's family embraced Dax, their warmth a stark contrast to his own. At a holiday dinner with them, Dax felt a pang of envy. This is what family should be, he whispered to Jordan. But the past intruded again. In 2020, the pandemic hit, amplifying vulnerabilities. Dax's firm shifted to remote work, and he thrived, but his family struggled. Dad lost remaining savings in bad investments. Mom's cancer returned. Calls flooded in, desperate. Dax sent aid packages, covered treatments, but resentment built. Why me? He confided to Jordan. They have other kids. Emily's husband makes decent money. Jordan's patience thinned. Because you're the successful one, and they know you'll give in. It's manipulation, Dax. A heated argument ensued one night. I can't watch you destroy yourself for them, Jordan said. Choose us, or keep enabling their toxicity. Dax recoiled. It's not that simple. They're my blood. The conflict spilled into their daily life. Dax withdrew, burying himself in work. Jordan suggested a break, but they reconciled after tearful talks. I love you, Dax said. You're my family now. Yet the pull remained. A bombshell dropped in 2022. Emily confessed during a call. Dad never changed his views. He still thinks being gay is wrong, but he says we need your help anyway. The words shattered Dax. All the apologies, the feigned acceptance, it was a facade for financial gain. He felt used like an ATM dispensing guilt money. Confronting his parents via video call, Dax laid it bare. You threw me out for who I am. Now you want my money without accepting me. His mother cried. We were wrong, but times were different. Dad grumbled. Get over it. Family helps family. Dax's resolve hardened. Not like this. I'm done. He blocked their numbers, changed his email. The silence was deafening, but liberating. Jordan supported him fully, their bond strengthening. Dax channeled energy into advocacy, volunteering at the same community center that saved him years ago. He mentored young LGBTQ kids, sharing his story as a cautionary tale of conditional love. Yet doubts lingered. Holidays brought melancholy. News of his family's hardships reached him through mutual acquaintances. Had he been too harsh? Society valorized forgiveness, but at what cost to one's well-being? With the family ties severed, Dax focused on building a life unburdened by past ghosts. By 2024, he and Jordan married in a small ceremony in Chicago's Millennium Park, surrounded by friends and Jordan's family. The day was filled with joy vows exchanged under blooming cherry trees, laughter echoing during the reception. Dax felt whole, his ring a symbol of chosen love over inherited obligation. Professionally, Dax launched his own financial consulting firm, specializing in LGBTQ-friendly wealth management. Clients flocked, drawn to his empathy and expertise. He wrote articles for online platforms, discussing the intersection of identity and finance, how rejection could fuel resilience. "Success isn't revenge," he penned in one piece. "It's reclamation." But echoes of the past resurfaced unexpectedly. A letter arrived from an Ohio lawyer. His parents were suing for elder support, citing state laws on filial responsibility. Dax stared at the document, incredulous. Jordan fumed. "This is extortion." Their attorney advised fighting it. Ohio's laws were rarely enforced, especially with a history of abandonment. The case dragged on, forcing Dax to relive his trauma in depositions. "They disowned me at 16, he testified. "Now they claim entitlement?" The judge, a stern woman in her 50s, listened intently. Media caught wind, turning it into a local story. Gay sons sued by parents after being kicked out. Online debates raged. Some sided with family duty, others with personal boundaries. Social media amplified the controversy. Dax's Twitter thread about the ordeal went viral, garnering support from LGBTQ advocates but backlash from traditionalists. "Blood is thicker than water," one commenter wrote. "Honor thy parents." Another countered, "Not when they dishonor you first." The discourse highlighted societal divides on family, forgiveness, and queer rights. Amid the stress, Dax and Jordan considered starting a family. They began the adoption process, attending classes and home studies. The idea of fatherhood terrified and excited Dax. "I want to give a kid what I never had, unconditional love," he told Jordan. But the lawsuit loomed, a reminder of unresolved pain. In court, revelations emerged. Emily testified reluctantly, admitting the family's financial mismanagement, lavish spending despite aid from Dax. "We thought he'd always help," she said, avoiding his gaze. His parents appeared frail, but their lawyer argued hardship. Dax's side presented evidence of the ejection at 16, including old emails and witness statements from Maria. The judge ruled in Dax's favor, dismissing the suit. "Parental rights end when abuse begins," she stated. "This court won't enforce obligations born from rejection." Relief washed over Dax, but victory felt hollow. His mother approached him after. "We love you, son. Please." He shook his head. "Love isn't transactional." Post-trial, Dax reflected on the experience. It had cost thousands in legal fees, strained his marriage, but clarified his values. Jordan stood by him, their adoption application progressing. They welcomed a baby boy, Liam, in 2025, a chubby-cheeked infant from a local agency. Parenthood brought new depths of emotion, reinforcing Dax's commitment to breaking cycles. Yet the story sparked broader conversations. Podcasts invited Dax to discuss filial laws and their impact on marginalized communities. Should adult children support parents who abuse them? Became a hot topic. Dax argued no, emphasizing mental health and autonomy. As Liam grew, Dax's life settled into a rhythm of domestic bliss and professional fulfillment. Mornings were filled with diaper changes and giggles, evenings with story time. Jordan's designs adorned their home, a cozy townhouse in a diverse Chicago neighborhood. Friends envied their stability, but Dax knew it was hard-won. Occasional updates on his family trickled in, through distant relatives or social media glimpses. Mom's health stabilized. Dad found part-time work. Emily divorced and remarried. They seemed to manage without him, yet rumors of bitterness persisted. "He abandoned us," they reportedly said at gatherings. Dax shrugged it off, focusing on his chosen family. A chance encounter shifted things. At a financial conference in New York, Dax ran into his cousin Maria, now living there. Over coffee, she shared, "Your parents regret it all." Dad softened with age. Dax listened, a flicker of curiosity stirring. "Do they accept me now?" Jordan and Liam. Maria hesitated. "They're trying." Tempted by closure, Dax arranged a neutral meeting. A park in Cleveland during a business trip. Jordan accompanied, Liam in a stroller. His parents arrived, looking older, more vulnerable. Mom hugged him tentatively. Dad nodded awkwardly. "You've built a good life," Dad said. Dax introduced Jordan and Liam proudly. "This is my husband and son." Conversation was stilted. They asked about his work, avoided the past. When Dax probed, "Do you regret kicking me out?" Mom teared up. "We were scared, ignorant." Dad grumbled, "Times change." No full apology, but a start. They cooed over Liam, a tentative bridge. Back home, Dax debated with Jordan. "Is this genuine, or another ploy?" Jordan cautioned, "Proceed slowly. Protect our family." Dax agreed, setting ground rules, no money requests, respect for his life. Sporadic calls followed, mostly about Liam's milestones. Felt like progress, but trust was fragile. Society's lens complicated matters. In an era of reconciliation stories flooding media, Dax's journey challenged norms. His TEDx talk, Redefining Family After Rejection, drew millions of views. He posed questions. Can forgiveness coexist with boundaries? Is blood obligation absolute? Conflicts arose when Emily reached out, needing help with her daughter's college fund. "Just a loan," she pleaded. Dax refused. "I've given enough. Focus on your own path." She accused him of selfishness, igniting family drama. Dad sided with her, straining the fragile peace. Dax faced a moral dilemma, helping selectively, cutting off again. He chose limited engagement, holiday cards, occasional visits, no finances. It sparked debates among friends. "You're too kind," some said. "Too harsh," others argued. As Liam's first birthday approached, Dax reflected on his evolution, from discarded teen to empowered father. The journey highlighted societal pressures on queer individuals to forgive, often at personal cost. "Love should elevate, not exploit," he told Jordan one night, as they watched Liam sleep. The birthday party was a vibrant affair. Balloons, cake, loved ones gathered. Liam smeared frosting everywhere, his laughter infectious. Dax's parents attended virtually, their faces on a screen, offering well wishes. It was a far cry from the hostility of years past, but progress nonetheless. In quiet moments, Dax pondered the long road. From that slammed door in Ohio to this joyful home in Chicago, he'd navigated betrayal, success, and redemption. Jordan remained his anchor, their love a testament to resilience. Liam represented hope, a new generation free from old prejudices. Yet questions lingered. Had his family truly changed, or was it convenience? Society grappled with similar tales. Queer youth disowned, then courted for gain. Dax's story fueled discussions on podcasts, articles, even legislative pushes for better protections. One evening, scrolling news, Dax read about filial support laws evolving, incorporating abuse exemptions. His case had influenced that, a small victory, but personal peace was harder. When Dad called to congratulate on a promotion, slipping in a hint about retirement woes, Dax shut it down firmly. "We're building bridges, not banks." The balance was delicate. Holidays brought mixed emotions. Gratitude for his life, sorrow for what could have been. Jordan suggested writing a memoir to process and inspire. "Your story matters," he said. Dax began drafting, pouring out emotions long buried. As the manuscript grew, so did Dax's clarity. Forgiveness wasn't absolution. It was releasing resentment for his own sake. He forgave but didn't forget. Boundaries protected his family, Jordan and Liam first. In the end, Dax stood firm in his choices, a beacon for others facing similar struggles. His life exemplified that family isn't always blood. It's the people who choose you daily. Was it right for Dax to prioritize his chosen family over his biological one, even after their attempts at reconciliation?